Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the channel World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about WWE Monday Night Raw from December 13th, 2021. I got one thing to say to you guys. How is this shit even legal to put on TV? That is the cold open to this review. How in the world can WWE Raw be legally shown to people? Because every single week, all they seem to know how to do is kill more and more brain cells in people's heads. Because I honestly don't understand this. Where does Bobby Lashley come into the mix? It's one thing to stretch out with Kevin Owens being added to this whole situation. It's another thing to add Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley lost the championship in September to Big E in a fucking terrible way. He should have lost the championship at SummerSlam with the title already scheduled to be defended against Big E, with the briefcase granting him that opportunity, which hasn't been done in a very long time, and more of a face type role to do something like that with the briefcase. The Money in the Bank briefcase is what I'm talking about. I just don't understand how Bobby Lashley even has a remote grievance or right to this championship. He lost the championship, then he had a legit championship match one-on-one where there was no, he had a match and then he had to defend the title immediately after that. It was, I had a match with you, I beat you one-on-one, that's it, end of story, you're done. Get to the back of the line. Now we got three guys going after one championship. Going after the champion and the three other challengers added to this mix. Bobby Lashley beat every single one of these guys. The only one that really gave him any kind of challenge was Big E. And he won by MVP, getting in the middle of the match at the end. After Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens tried to help Big E, Big E went ahead and rejected their help. So it ended up being a 2-on-2 assault. Two guys going after the other two guys in the middle of the match, which was utterly ridiculous. I just don't understand why Kevin Owens and Big E would beat the shit out of each other. But that's what ended up happening. This was a comedy act, man. How, at this point, how can you not say that Bobby Lashley should win the WWE Championship after everything that happened last night? He beat all three guys in individual matches. And then he's going to lose in the Fatal 4-Way match. If anything, he should have been crowned the WWE Champion. That's really what should have happened. He should have been crowned WWE Champion last night. Instead, he has to now face three other people to win the damn belt. And he could possibly lose and go through all that for nothing. For nothing. How idiotic does that sound? I will say this, putting him in this championship match is kind of ridiculous, but out of all four competitors, who looks like a superstar? Who looks like a larger-than-life character? Let's get real. As bad as the WWE dialogue is, Bobby Lashley gives that presence of you don't want to fuck with me type of character. He is legit. He comes across genuine. The way he looks, the way he's, his muscular physique. I mean, this guy looks like the old school model, what a WWE superstar is supposed to look like to become a WWE champion. Big E has that body image, but he doesn't have the character. If he had the character of a serious role like Bobby Lashley does, why Big E would be an okay champion to have still. At this point, I am dead serious. Big E needs to drop the title and move on. And the guy that needs to be the champion is the same guy he took the belt from in the first place, Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, throughout 2021, could have had the potential of becoming the Raw's version of Brock Lesnar on a full-time basis. Bobby Lashley is able to give us that, a full-time basis role of Brock Lesnar. And instead, they treat him like he's second class. One minute he's this dominating figure and he's destroying everything in his path, and then the next minute he's right back to like what everyone else is, a fucking nobody. Which I think is absolutely ridiculous to do that to a character that has the potential of meeting the requirements of what you're looking for in a WWE superstar. The guy dresses like a superstar. He dresses like the old school mentality of a world champion. Unfortunately, he's not given or treated like a world champion, which I think is ridiculous. But let's get real, guys. This company don't know what they have. They could get all the talent, all this new talent. They could get all these guys that meet the type of requirements they're looking for in a champion or in a talent and all that jazz, and they could shove it straight up their ass. Do you want to know why they can shove it straight up their ass? They're not really looking to make a larger-than-life character on their show. They're not looking to advance and improve their roster. This is all about making money. I am telling you guys, WrestleMania 39 will be the end. We saw Final Battle, which I told you guys on the Rampage review yesterday. I said I will be reviewing ROH Final Battle. That was their last pay-per-view. I am telling you guys, WrestleMania 39 will be the last pay-per-view of WWE unless whoever buys out Vince McMahon and takes the role of the ownership of that company, the company will no longer exist. I am telling you, WrestleMania 39 will be the end of an era with Vince McMahon controlling it because he will sell it off for billions of dollars. This guy is looking for a way out. This guy is not looking to do anything impressive or important on this show whatsoever. Not one fucking bit. He's looking to make a chunk load of money and retire. And I have not heard one motherfucking person come out and say that yet on their podcast. But right here on World of Wrestling, I have been saying it for the last year. Since 2020, since the break of the pandemic of COVID, I have been saying they are selling this shit off. They give up, they quit, they're not really trying to do anything. And it shows week after week after week. There's nothing this company is trying to do. You look at AEW, they're trying. They're trying to build new stars. Yeah, their ratings may not be the best that they were a couple of months ago. But let's get real, they're still maintaining their audience. They're still close to 1 million views a week. They're in the 800 to 900,000 range of total viewership. Supposedly, the demographics, they're doing well in. The TNT's very happy with the demo, which is great. But I personally kind of feel that all of that stuff should matter. Not just the demos, but overall average of how many people are watching your show on a week-to-week basis. And I gotta say, at least AEW is trying to produce a good show. WWE doesn't try to produce anything. They're lucky if they can produce a shit show. Seriously. Their shows are so fucking pathetic. It ain't even shit. It's just a nothing. It's worthless. It has no pulse. It has nothing in it. There's nothing important about the show. If you missed it, you didn't miss nothing. I mean, at least back in 2015, even, they had something of substance that you could enjoy. 2016, again, there was something of substance you could enjoy of that show. Raw or SmackDown. You could find something, at least one good match that really intrigued your interest and made you happy to watch. And it felt like it could have been something placed on a pay-per-view event, possibly. But now, Raw and SmackDown, not even SmackDown feels remotely important or feel like it's worth your time to watch. Roman Reigns has been dull as fuck. Just recently, JD from New York 206 has finally said what I've been saying for the last 2 months. They do it for Roman. Roman Reigns is getting treated the same way as he was a babyface. They do everything for Roman to help Roman succeed as a character, and they don't care about the rest of the roster. He stated the same thing I stated several months ago. I stated, where are all these people that keep facing Roman Reigns? What happens to them? Are they doing anything important in a major storyline angle? Are they competing over a mid-card title and making that mid-card title as prestigious as the World Championship on the same show? No, they're not doing anything. Kevin Owens is a prime example. He had one of the best runs with Roman Reigns, and yet after everything that took place, which again I still feel Kevin Owens should have lost the match at TLC in 2020, and then in 2021 should have won the Royal Rumble to go on and revisit their rivalry and compete over the World Championship and win the fucking world title. That is how you build new stars. Kevin Owens could have been a major babyface on SmackDown. He could have been the next Stone Cold Steve Austin in this modern day era of shit wrestling in WWE. But they passed up on that. Why? Real simple. Because he doesn't meet the look of what they're trying to get, and yet there's not one single person that... I mean, Finn Balor has an amazing physique. He looks chiseled. They don't do nothing with him. Cesaro, another great, entertaining wrestler. Do they do anything with him? Try to make him even a remote positive thing in the mid-card portion of the show. No, they do nothing with him. They got amazing talent, and yet they don't utilize it. Ricochet, another one, could make the lower end guys, the guys that are small and you know, fit, but they're not big, tall guys. They could make something out of that and make a main roster cruiserweight championship mean something and actually just be as important as a world title. And yet they can't do that. Why? Because they don't see the value in cruiserweight championship wrestling. But yet back in the WCW WF Monday Night Wars, the cruiserweight division in WCW was the most vital thing that WCW had, because a lot of people were entertained by the stuff they were doing in those matches. But cruiserweight wrestling is not important to Vincent Kennedy McMahon and the rest of his goon squad known as Bruce Pritchard, Johnny Laurinaitis, and good old Kevin Dunn. I mean, come on, man. This company is the biggest waste of anybody's time. Seriously. I mean, I think I'm going to spend more time bashing the shit out of how terrible the show was than actually go over the show with you guys, because there's really nothing to go over. Edge and, what's-his-face? Miz. They have a, thing that takes place on the show that was It was alright. I mean, I've heard JD's review on it. He said it was shit. BC Amplified's another guy I listened to. He thought it was okay. I'd have to agree with BC Amplified. If you haven't checked out his channel, he's very interesting. Very different from JD. But he does share a lot of other opinions that JD shares. He doesn't like the bullshit that WWE does. He's not a WWE mark. He speaks from the heart. He speaks in reality what he sees. And what I see is real simple. It's just a bunch of scripted verbiage that these guys have to say. And they sound unrealistic. They don't sound like human beings. They sound like they're just reading off a prompt. There might as well be politicians standing at a podium reading off a bunch of bullshit that was given to them by their writers. I mean, they sound retarded. The opener of the show, we get Bobby Lashley coming out, talking. MVP's doing most of the talking. Bobby Lashley's just standing there in his really nice suit, looking all buffed and tough. And MVP saying, Seth Rollins is complaining and Kevin Owens complaining about how they didn't get championship opportunities and blah, blah, blah. And what about Bobby Lashley? He's earned them. These guys have not, and yada, yada, yada. I'm going, dude, you fucking lost the WWE Championship. Granted, yeah, you lost it by a stupid cash-in way that a heel would do it, but then you had a rematch to rectify that issue, and you still lost inside of a steel cage where you could have cheated to win back the title, and yet you couldn't. So, at the end of the day, based on storyline and the way the match went down for a rematch, it doesn't matter. You lost. You sucked. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins have not had WWE Championship opportunities yet. They've been drafted over to SmackDown, which now has turned into a complete shit show since they left. So, who the hell cares about that, right? But, I don't know what the hell is going on with my computer here. Trying to get the whole entire results of what happened, because I can't remember every fucking thing that took place on this show. But I'll try my best to remember. But yeah, they'll go ahead, they're cutting this promo and da-da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, Kevin Owens' music's hit. Kevin Owens comes out, he says, you know something? You ain't gonna be part of this WWE Championship match. I worked my ass off to get in it, and I want the fans to have a champion they can be proud of and all this nonsense. I'm confused. Are you a heel? A face? What the hell are you? Like, who the blue hell are you? I mean, come on, man. What the fuck is going on here? What are they, bipolar? They go from one act to another in between segments? Like, what the hell is this shit? I mean, I don't get this crap. Really, I don't. I don't get this fucking computer either, but whatever. We'll keep moving forward until I can pull this up and figure out what the hell's going on with it. But yeah, I'm just going, are you mentally gone insane? Do you not know what role you're playing? Has Vince McMahon confused you? Have you completely lost your mind? Apparently working for Vince McMahon, anybody could lose their mind. Hell, I mean, Triple H got a fucking heart attack working with this psychopath. Why not? Triple H can get a heart attack working for Vince because he's so damn stressed out by Vince McMahon's insanity that, anyone working for him could probably lose their mind. Who the hell knows? But, whatever. The point being is that he's coming across as a face, and he's supposed to be a heel. Then later on in the show, he becomes a heel again. He starts taking shots at the fans. A segment backstage with Seth Rollins, which happens later on in the show. And Seth Rollins comes out after he does some of his spiel and shtick. And Seth Rollins comes out in this really weird fucking suit. He's wearing a purple and black, I think it was purple and black or purple and white, some kind of shitty fucking coloring. I don't know what the hell kind of suits this guy's wearing or what he thinks he should be wearing. It's really fucking ridiculous. But anyway, he goes ahead, he comes out, and he says, hey, well, you can't have a Monday Night Raw show without the real challenger, the real number one contender for the WWE Championship. And as he's walking up, there's a guy with a sign that says Aaron Rodgers owns Seth Rollins. This guy's wearing an Aaron Rodgers jersey. I almost started cracking up laughing. Like, LMAO. I mean, seriously, laugh my ass off, man. Seriously, I thought that was the funniest fucking sign I ever seen. Seth Rollins is owned by fucking Aaron Rodgers. Oh, shit, that's funny. Oh, that was fucking great. And they kept panning it onto that fan, too, the camera. And Seth didn't really acknowledge it or look at it or anything like that, which I thought was funny, too. But point being is, they're acting like they're trying to be good guys, and I don't quite understand any of this illogical shit, but whatever. So what happens here is they end up going ahead and having Big E come out, and he says, oh, well, look at my collective idiots. Pal, you're as dumb as the rest of them. Because what he does at the end of the show made absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever. You're the WWE champion. If you're having a match with someone who has eliminated and destroyed two guys that are probably one of the best stars on your brand, and your ass is already 2-on-1 basically, because I guarantee you Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins will team together during this matchup as if they were to do a triple threat match. And you think for a solitary second now Bobby Lashley out of this mix, he ain't gonna try to team up with them and beat the fuck out of you? That'll be a 3-on-1 assault, buddy. This guy's a fucking dipshit. I mean, he's still doing the New Day act while carrying a WWE championship. You don't do roles like that. You don't. You can't pull that shit off. That's like Jungle Boy being a AEW World Champion. No. That is fucking ridiculous. And Jungle Boy, you know the funny thing? I really kind of get on Jungle Boy, not because he's a bad wrestler or he's bad on the mic, but his gimmick is kind of weird to be a world champion. I think that would be awkward. I think if he changed his gimmick, and I've stated this before, if he changed his gimmick and was a little bit more normal, instead of doing like a gimmicky Jungle Boy type role, I would be cool with it. Change his name and make it a little bit more cooler in a sense, with a legit name or something like that. I would be fine with him because he's an outstanding wrestler. He's decent on the mic. He does a good job, and he looks like he's got a lot of heart. He looks like he could be a real good babyface type role character. Big E, and the weird thing is, Jungle Boy would probably get over more playing his role as world champion than Big E, and here's the reason why I say that. Even though I think that Jungle Boy would have to change his role as a gimmick character before he would ever become champion, is Jungle Boy's more serious. He is more he takes things seriously. Big E's character is most of the time full of gyrating, acting goofy like he's part of the New Day faction, and he's a mid-card wrestler type role. You want to be goofy, funny, and you know, lay back and not taking anything seriously, then you should be a mid-card wrestler. You want to be a joke in the mid-card division, not in the main event. The main event should be taken very seriously. It should be like as if you're going for a real combat match, battle, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It should be taken seriously, and it's not. It's like a fucking joke with this company, and that's all they ever do. I just don't get the idea or mentality of this company and why they're going the direction they're going. Why aren't they sitting down and really planning things out and sticking with it? They flashed a bunch of shit all over a segment of a bunch of different former athletes coming out of college, like football, a lot of football players. They're acting like they were doing the fucking NFL draft at this point. You could have fooled me. I mean, a couple of these guys came from really good schools. I mean, top end college football schools that ranked in the top 25, going to major bowl games this year. I mean, this is insane that these guys are coming out of college and not looking to go in the NFL. They're looking to come to WWE? What the hell? Why would you want to throw your career and your life in the toilet from football to shitbag wrestling with WWE? I mean, seriously. I wouldn't. I'd take my chances in the Canadian Football League if I couldn't make it in the pros. I mean, my God, at least fucking Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, did that. He at least tried in the Canadian Football League first before he even tried to go to pro wrestling. He didn't want nothing to do with pro wrestling. His heart was in professional football. That's what he wanted to do after college. Not fucking pro wrestling. He wanted to try to do something different. He didn't make it, though, unfortunately, because of his shoulder. He had a shoulder injury in college, so he went to Canadian Football League, and that didn't work out, so he went to the WWF. But, bottom line, why would you fucking consider WWE, especially in the state that it's in right now, and think they have the best interest for you? They don't have no interest for you. I mean, recently there was a thing with Bronson Reed saying that the guys that are still there that were with him, telling him that he was going to be able to keep a job for a very long time, are now standing there. The same people that said that to him are standing there worried they may lose their jobs at any point. I mean, that is insane. I just don't understand. Who the fuck thinks this company is going to stick around? Whoever thinks this company is in it for the long haul, or they're going to be around in the next 3-4 years, they're fucking dead wrong. It ain't happening. They ain't staying in business. They may stay in business if it goes to another owner, but with Vince McMahon? Yeah, right. It stays in Vince McMahon's hands longer than 3 or 4 years. He'll go fucking bankrupt before he can make it a success again. Because this guy has no fucking enthusiasm to do anything anymore. You clearly can see that in the creativity that he puts in his shows. There's nothing there. I mean, take example the next segment. They mentioned that Bobby Lashley, Adam Pearce, and Sonya Deville come out. They make the announcement that Bobby Lashley's got to face all 3 opponents. Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Biggie at the end of the show to make it in and turn it into a fatal 4-way match. So we move on to the next segment. We show a segment from what happened earlier in the day with Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle apparently last week was wearing a WWE blazer jacket. Holy fuck. With Otis and Chad Gable last week. Why? I have no idea. I didn't watch the show last week. Thank God I saved myself 3 hours of torment. Today I didn't do that. I don't know why. My own roommate was telling me, dude, you know the show sucks. You come on here every single week when you do a WWE review and you shit all over. What's the fucking point then? I say, well, because I gotta schedule my audience. I tell them I'm doing this and I'm gonna do it. I honor my my word to you guys. You guys have been subscribing and you guys are really enjoying the content that I'm delivering. So I'm going to continue to do that regardless of how fucking shitty it is. Now, granted, I'm not every single week going to sit there and torture myself for 3 hours, but here and there throughout the entire month, I will go ahead and do a review. But I don't know how people can actually do this week to week, though. I really do not understand how they do it outside of their getting paid. I do not. I do this for a hobby, and that is it. I'm not doing this for any profit gain or anything like that. So some of you may think, well, you're a fucking idiot. If you're not getting profit off of it, what are you watching it for? I don't know. Maybe I guess I am an idiot in that case. I have no idea. But I do it because I enjoy hearing from you guys, what you guys have to say in the comment section. You guys appreciate the rants and really enjoy the content, so I deliver. And that's it. Plain and simple. So Matt Riddle is trying to convince Randy Orton of a fucking podcast. Like, we need any more wrestling podcasters? Jeez Louise, man. So Matt Riddle is told by Randy Orton that, look, you got to start taking this stuff very seriously. We got Chad Gable and Otis trying to go after these WWE Tag Team titles. You're worrying about wearing a blazer. Look, if you win this match tonight, I'll, in the distant future, let you wear the blazer. I'm saying to myself, this is Randy Orton, a 14-time World Heavyweight Champion, acting like he's a parent to an adolescent child who's actually an adult. How can you do this to a performer who you decided to allow to beat one of the biggest names in pro wrestling in creativity with Bray Wyatt the Fiend, to ultimately move him over with Matt Riddle? And make Matt Riddle a complete and utter goofball who, when gets turned on, I won't have any sympathy for. Because I won't. I won't have any sympathy for Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle is an absolute, complete dumbass. He is nothing like what he was in NXT. This guy is a complete and utter joke. So why would I have any sympathy for him? He's annoying like The Miz. Only The Miz is trying to play a heel annoyance type role. This guy is trying to be a babyface, being a goofball, and only being annoying about it. So when Randy Orton turns on him, I'll be praising this 100% because thank goodness we finally get rid of Matt Riddle out of Randy Orton's role as a character, and we get this match to take place at WrestleMania, which I think is going to be a great match. Most definitely, I'll be looking forward for that match. But I won't be cheering for Matt Riddle. I want to see Randy Orton destroy Matt Riddle. I want him to get punted straight to the heavens. I swear, I think it's absolutely ridiculous what they are doing with this guy. It is utterly ridiculous. So let's move forward here. We also had, we then had, whatchamacallit? We had Randy Orton, we had Matt Riddle versus Otis, and Otis won this match. He was the winner of the match. Good match, but why is the tag team champion losing? Well, I guess there was a good reason. They probably made the explanation by saying, hey, do you really want to see Matt Riddle dress in a fucking orange blazer to come out to the ring when he wrestles every week? So I guess that's the explanation why they couldn't let him win that match, since Randy Orton gave him the okay if he won the match. He'd be able to wear the blazer in the distant future. Oh, God. What a fucking joke. The match wasn't bad. I actually enjoyed the match. I thought it was alright. It was pretty decent. After the match, though, Randy Orton hits the ring and tries an RKO on Otis. Otis pushes Orton away, and then Orton RKOs Gable instead, and Otis floors Randy Orton with a back elbow. And that's pretty much how that all ended. Otis was standing there celebrating. My attitude on Otis and Gable winning the tag team titles from Orton and Riddle, I think, is a good idea. I think they're about the only legitimate tag team that's being utilized right now the proper way. Unfortunately, they're constantly, having matches in some capacity with the tag team champions, which I think is utterly ridiculous. But how can I blame them? They don't have a tag team division to go up against. So what am I going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Absolutely nothing, and just hope and pray that eventually, probably by the Royal Rumble, we get to see Chad Gable and Otis win the tag team titles from these two guys, and we get to see Matt Riddle and Randy Orton finally implode and finally get lost as a tag team. So that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to. We then have Bianca Belair versus Doudrop. Oh, God. These women have faced each other 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row. Bianca Belair wins the match again. Again. And do you think this rivalry is over with? Do you think we're actually going to see the end of these two? I guarantee we'll be seeing them having another match real soon. Yes, that is what happened. Doudrop, after being defeated, Bianca Belair was walking up the ramp and was attacked by Doudrop from behind, and then started slapping her ass, mocking Bianca Belair. I'm not making this shit up, folks. I am not making this shit up. How many times can you repeat the same fucking match? I mean, back in the day, yeah, we got rematches, but when it came to a rematch, the rematch was done 1 month, one per month. Like, for example, let's say, we'll give you an example with Triple H and The Rock. Back in 2000, in the WrestleMania pay-per-view, they had a match. They were in a Fatal 4 elimination match. Then at Backlash, they changed the title over to The Rock. Then The Rock had an Iron Man match with Triple H in a Judgment Day pay-per-view. Unfortunately, got screwed out of the title. The title went back to Triple H. This is called a rivalry, folks. This is the way you do a swap back and forth with the championship. That makes sense. Even though, yeah, you are doing a hot potato between the two guys, these are two well-established characters building a rivalry over a championship. So when you do something like that, it's a different scenario. When you're having one champion win the title, and then he loses it to a new challenger, and they go back and forth, and there's nothing being established between these two opponents over the championship. It's just being swapped back and forth. It makes no sense. I'll give you another prime example that was actually recent. Most recently, 2016, Miz and Dolph Ziggler over the Intercontinental Championship. That made sense. Miz was a really good mid-card champion at the time. I think he was on a long winning streak with that championship. Nobody could really beat him for the title. And then Dolph Ziggler went to SmackDown, challenged for the Intercontinental Championship, lost the first opportunity. I believe it was No Mercy, I think it was called. No, Backlash. Then at No Mercy, in October, he wins the WWE Intercontinental Championship, and then loses it the next pay-per-view or 2 pay-per-views later, and then they had another match in a ladder match, which ended with Dolph Ziggler losing that match and ending the whole thing. But at the end of the day, there was something being built up. There was a storyline being built up. Here, WWE just swaps the title at any fucking person known to man. And it has no build. It has no prestige to it. It gives the title no meaning. It's just a fucking prop someone could put on their shoulders and say, hey, I'm a WWE champion. You might as well go to your nearest Walmart and buy a fucking little child title that's $19.99 in your kid's toy store area, and you can call yourself a champion too. I mean, come on. It's freaking ridiculous. I don't know, man. I really don't. So, give me a minute. Trying to go to the next page here. All right. So that's pretty much what took place there. We then have Kevin Owens versus Bobby Lashley for the first testament for Bobby Lashley to move forward for challenging for the WWE Championship in this, turning it into a fatal 4-way. Match was very short. Whatchamacallit, Kevin Owens went ahead, ends up tapping out in less than 3 minutes, and taps out before the hold is fully put into him. Some people would say this was dumb. This was making Kevin Owens look weak. In my mindset, I kind of disagree with people that say that. And the reason why I'd say that is because he has a match that's coming up that's important. He needs to win the WWE Championship. Why would he risk injury and still lose? Because in retrospect, by history and by results of what happens when you're in that maneuver, the Hurt Lock, nobody can get out of that full Nelson. It's like Chris Masters doing the full Nelson on someone else. That's no different than what Bobby Lashley does with the full Nelson on his opponents. He locks it in, it's done, it's over. There's no reason to risk injury. And there's two other people that could still beat him at the end of the day anyway. So what he was trying to do is he went to Seth Rollins after his match was over later on in the show and was like, hey, let's try to cooperate together and come up with a plan to get rid of Bobby Lashley out of this championship match so that we just have it as a triple threat instead of a fatal 4-way. It seems to me that the only two people in this fatal 4-way match that have any brains, one's a fucking strong ox that's hard to beat because he's the strongest one out of the bunch, and then you got Kevin Owens, who's seems to be coming across like an intelligent human being. He managed to convince Seth Rollins to attack him so he could get disqualified and easily get placed into the championship match and turn it into a triple threat match. And then he does the same thing with Seth Rollins. He's trying to do the smart thing and not get himself injured, and also so that no one else can suffer a loss to him and get rid of Bobby Lashley out of this whole situation. Nobody wanted to take his advice or do anything. Now, the way they made him do it, like, for example, he tried to go ahead and talk to Big E with Seth Rollins before the main event, and he said he had a PowerPoint presentation he wanted to show him on his phone. What? I'm going, what in the hell? You got me convinced you're possibly a possible chance of winning the WWE Championship with the intellect that he was showing, but then he's talking about shit like this. A PowerPoint? What is he? Becoming fucking... What was his face? I forgot his damn name. He wore the suit. He was part of the Cruiserweight division. I forgot his fucking name. Drew Gulak. Yeah. What is he? Fucking Drew Gulak? Are you serious? Drew Gulak was doing this stuff where he'd do presentations and shit. Like, what the fuck? What is the point in that? There's no point in it. It's fucking ridiculous. But that's WWE for you guys. I mean, seriously, it's fucking ridiculous. Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan's segment. I don't know how to look at this. I do have to admit, again, WWE continues to fail on delivering on good promos. They have opportunities to provide good promos that get people intrigued and interested, and yet they keep failing miserably. You got Becky Lynch supposedly playing a heel role, yet there's kids out there that say Becky Lynch rules, you stink. That's what happened during Liv Morgan's promo portion of this segment. She's standing there walking down the ramp, going towards the ring to talk to Becky Lynch, and she's got a fan screaming, Becky Lynch rules, you suck, and she sticks her tongue out at her. And this is a kid, probably like 9, maybe 10 years old, 10-year-old girl saying this to a woman who's supposed to be the fucking babyface. Nobody wants her. Nobody wants Becky Lynch to be a heel. People enjoy Becky Lynch as a face mostly, and they're still cheering her on even though she's playing this bad guy role. Which, by the way, she's really terrible at. I mean, it's hard to convince me that she's playing the heel role very well. She's more of an anti-hero if anything else. And people enjoy the anti-hero Becky Lynch. I mean, let's get real. Who didn't enjoy the man Becky Lynch? She turned heel. That wasn't working. People wanted to cheer for her because she slapped the taste out of Charlotte Flair, the most hated women's wrestler in professional wrestling today. Nobody likes Charlotte Flair. So if you're beating the shit out of Charlotte Flair, why, people aren't going to find you as a heel. They're going to find you as a godsend and really appreciate you for what you do. I mean, come on. And Becky Lynch playing the heel role for a little while and then turning face, but still holding on to that bad guy type role gimmick, mixing it together with a face gimmick as if she's Stone Cold Steve Austin as a female. And people enjoy that gimmick. A lot of people enjoy that stuff. That's what I keep saying. Kevin Owens is the modern day Stone Cold Steve Austin in a male. Stone Cold Steve Austin is one of the greatest characters of all time. He's a guy that's a middle class, blue collar worker who busts his ass and don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. If you like him, great. If not, okay, fine. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. That's the type of attitude that Stone Cold Steve Austin had. And that is a great template to use for a lot of professional wrestlers. As a babyface, The Rock was another character like that. Rock didn't give a fuck who cheered for him and who did. He don't care. The character didn't give a shit about what the fans thought. If you liked him, great. He was going to stand behind you, be a representative of the fans. But if you didn't like him, he didn't care. He was going to do his thing and do what he had to do. That's it. Batista was another one. Batista, as a babyface even, came out and said to the crowd, you can cheer me? Great. If you want to boo me? Fine. I don't care. I'm going to do one thing and one thing only. Win matches, be the world champion. That's all I care about. You guys want to support me? Great. I support you right back. You don't? I don't give a shit. That's it. It's that simple. They got these wrestlers, the Liv Morgan coming out. I'm saying, I'm going to represent the little girl from the match from last week who had the look on her face. She looked like a gosh darn ripoff of the little kid that was genuinely looked mad about The Miz winning the WWE Championship, which, by the way, is actually shown later on in the show on the Miz segment for the Miz TV segment. I mean, if you go back and watch that and look at that and then look at The Miz winning and capturing the WWE Championship from Randy Orton in 2010, and you look at the kid in the crowd with that ugly look on her face, pissed off that The Miz won the championship, it's the exact same look. It's like they were copycatting something here. I mean, like, what the fuck was the point in that? I have no idea. I really don't. But, yeah, Becky Lynch, she talked a lot of shit, said, oh, yeah, I'm a great champion, I'm moving forward my career, and yada, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Just a lot of bullshit rhetoric, and it didn't mean nothing to me. I'm not even going to go over everything she said, because it's utterly ridiculous. She's trying to play this heel. People are still cheering for her. She even acknowledges some of the fans are cheering for her anyway. So, whatever. Morgan comes out though. She says, "Yeah, you're a big time cheater." That's what she says. Some kind of shit like that. Or she's the best at cheating. Whatever. It was like trying to make a comeback and it was very weak. A real good insult and it was a weak insult. Like, ooh, wow, I'm good at cheating. No shit, I'm supposed to be playing a heel character, but yet nobody wants me to be the heel anyway, you know? I mean, come on. This is fucking ridiculous. Anywho, moving forward, I gotta get this done as soon as possible with this review, because if I don't, I'm gonna run out of memory on my camera here that I'm doing the recording on. So I apologize if I continue to rush through. Not that you guys probably care at this point, because probably listening to me has bored the living hell out of you because of how terrible Monday Night Raw really is. But so Morgan challenges Lynch to a rematch for the WWE Women's Championship. Why should she get a rematch? What, so she can lose again at year one? Or night one, whatever the fuck they're calling it? Look, bottom line, here's the bottom line to all of this. Bottom line is, Becky Lynch should not lose the WWE Women's Championship. I know that sounds harsh. I know that doesn't sound like you're building a new star or anything, but let's face facts. Is Liv Morgan going to win the WWE Women's Championship and then you're going to make her lose it to Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble, which is 3 weeks after that pay-per-view? That makes absolutely no fucking sense. The perfect idea is, once again, this is another repeat of what Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns did last year. Here's the solution to your problem, dipshits. How about instead of focusing on a rematch between these two women, you have Liv Morgan earn her way back into the WWE Women's Championship opportunity, have her win the Royal Rumble, and then challenge Becky Lynch for a rematch at WrestleMania, and have her win the damn belt there. See, that actually makes sense. That's building a new star. That's having her win the fucking title on the biggest pay-per-view of the year, number one. And number two, you're giving her 2-3 months to build a winning record to say she's earned her way in for a WWE Women's Championship rematch. And she won the Royal Rumble on top of that to earn that opportunity. So why wouldn't you do that instead? This is the same mentality they're doing with Kevin Owens last year. Roman Reigns didn't need a long-term reign as Universal Champion. He needed a good rival to go up against, leading him into WrestleMania. That guy was Kevin Owens. That's all he had to do. Kevin Owens would have been built into a main event star. People would have taken him seriously. He could have continued playing a face role and been looked at as the major baby face on SmackDown and the head honcho of that group alongside with Roman Reigns. And they could have reigned over the entire SmackDown roster as the two legitimate guys in the main event scene. But they didn't do that. They just keep Roman Reigns at the top, leaving no one to even be remotely in the same level as Roman Reigns so that he can continue on being this long-term world champion that they don't really need. It's stupid. Really is. And this is the same thing. Liv Morgan's getting the fucking shaft. I mean, they could even turn what they did from last week into a positive, and yet they can't fucking do that. They're pathetic. Finn Balor and Damien Priest was next. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the extra portion of that segment. Liv Morgan, she said, "Oh, you want a rematch so you can lose again?" She got pissed off. Liv Morgan ran into the ring, tried to attack Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch got the better of Liv Morgan, and she fucked up her arm inside the steel steps, and did these stomps on her arm that looked really ridiculous. And she said, well, you're going to have a real hard time trying to go after your WWE Championship match. But hey, I mean, if you want to go ahead and do that, by all means. In the meantime, I guess I'll go home, work out, stay in shape, take care of my kid, and be with my sexy husband. And that's pretty much it. And I'll see you at night one. I'm like, what the fuck? And the attire she was wearing was absolutely ridiculous. So we move on to Finn Balor and Damien Priest versus the Dirty Dogs. You think that Finn Balor would get a win here? No. I think Damien Priest, being part of the tag team and being a U.S. champion, he would have won that match against two jobbers, which, by the way, Bobby Roode has an amazing physique. And why he's not being pushed as at least a mid-card performer, doing something more important than teaming with Dolph Ziggler, I have no idea. Makes no sense to me, but hey, that's WWE for you. Anyway, they lose the Dirty Dogs win the match with Dolph Ziggler hitting the zigzag because of an outside distraction by fucking Austin Theory appearing out of nowhere from the stands and taking a selfie with him and fucking Finn Balor. Finn Balor clotheslines him and then gets zigzagged by Dolph Ziggler out of nowhere and gets the 1, 2, 3, and that's how the match ends. Rhea Ripley goes up against Zelina Vega. We have a backstage segment with fucking Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross. That's what I'm going to call her, Nikki Cross. I can't stand calling her Nikki ASH. Almost a fucking superhero. What a joke. She pretty much was disappointed in herself. Rhea Ripley's trying to console her and trying to make her feel, but what are these two even doing together? Like, what is this bullshit? It's just childish. These people act like adult children. I swear to God, it's like really pathetic. And Zelina Vega playing as this queen, can we just get her sounding like a normal person and just wear the freaking crown and call her Queen Zelina Vega and that's it? What do we gotta go through with this British accent crap? They did the same thing with Booker T, won the King of the Ring and then he became British. Like, what the fuck? You gotta be, every king is a fucking British person? Really? Like, what the hell is this crap? You imagine Bret Hart or Jerry the King Lawler sounding like they're British? I mean, Jerry the King Lawler's from fucking Memphis, Tennessee. Retarded. Anyway, Rhea Ripley loses less than 3 minutes to Zelina Vega because she's distracted by the fact that Carmella is attacking her friend, and she ends up going ahead and checking in on her friend and gets distracted and ends up getting her head whacked into the middle turnbuckle and gets rolled up for a pinfall. And for whatever reason, with Rhea Ripley being almost 6 feet tall and weighing a little over, I think she's probably close to 200 pounds, pure muscle, she couldn't kick out of the move to a 5 foot fucking 150 pound woman. Or some kind of shit. She's probably less than that, 109 pounds or some crap. Who the fuck knows? And really, who the fuck cares? Moving on. Seth Rollins loses to Bobby Lashley. Kevin Owens comes out, tries to get Bobby Lashley disqualified. They thought that worked. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville come out. They change the rules on the match, and it's now all disqualifications from here on out so that Bobby Lashley has a clear-cut opportunity to win without any low-end type of wins. So, match restarts, and instantly Seth Rollins is speared out of nowhere. This is your number one contender. You couldn't, I mean, it's one thing to make him lose so that Bobby Lashley can move forward with the next match, but to make him instantly just get speared and pinned, you couldn't have at least 5 more minutes added to the match. You just instantly, one move, boom, he's done. That's like saying, Seth Rollins ain't winning shit. Better move on with the next person and don't take him seriously in this championship. That's retarded. So, Bobby Lashley wins this match very easily with no problem. Pathetic. We have a backstage segment with Theory bursting into the fucking office of Vince McMahon. All of a sudden, Vince McMahon is apparently believes he's some kind of ratings draw. He's a fucking half-baked old man who can't even fucking talk the way he used to. He's not intriguing. He sounds annoyed. Sounds like he's fucking annoyed all the time. So he's sitting there and he's interrupted by Theory. He's showing him selfies of what he did to Finn Balor, and he's looking for Vince McMahon's approval. This is a fucking travesty what they're doing to fucking Austin Theory. It's one thing that Austin Theory was looking for approval and the thumbs up from Johnny Gargano, because Johnny Gargano is an amazing wrestler and he's basically a trainee trying to make it to the big times. But then when you're having him tied with Vince McMahon, it comes across really fucking stupid, because Vince McMahon doesn't even care about wrestling, number one. Number two, he's the lamest and pathetic human being on the planet when it comes to promoting professional wrestling in his company. Oops, I did it again. I shouldn't say professional wrestling. I should be saying sports entertainment. He couldn't even entertain a fucking dead person. Give me a freaking break. Well, actually, it's kind of hard to entertain a dead person when they're dead. But you get my point, I guess. But Vince McMahon gets upset with this, and he says, look, you think you're friends with me? You're not. I don't need friends, and I don't have friends. Really, Vince? You could have fooled me. I think you got good old friends with Johnny Laurinaitis and good old Kevin Dunn and Bruce Pritchard. I love you. Can I suck your dick, Vince? I mean, come on, man. He doesn't got friends. He's full of shit. He's got plenty of friends and he's destroying what people used to love watching on Monday nights. I gotta fucking go ahead and pre-record it just so I can get through most of it, so I don't have to be bored out of my mind for 3 straight hours legitimately on a Monday night when I could watch a good football game on Monday nights. You know, fucking break, man. What shit. Anyway, Miz TV segment, I already went over this. Talks about how he wants to be announced to be a Hall of Famer for 2022 WrestleMania. Nothing special took place. Edge kind of cut a short, brief promo with him. And the main spiel is that if Miz would talk less and do more, he'd actually be looked at as a main event superstar and a future Hall of Famer. But because he talks too damn much, people don't care about him and want him to just do one thing. Shut up. Which is legitimately true. And pretty sad to say, too. Anyway, we move on to the main event. And the main event, it wasn't bad for the way it was, but it was nothing special. Big E, Bobby Lashley, one-on-one. And Bobby Lashley wins the match. But the match going on as long as it did, and then finally Seth Rollins and fucking Kevin Owens show up to help Big E, was really ridiculous. I thought this was outrageous, completely idiotic, and fucking dumb to do. This could have been a 10-minute match, shortened down a bit. This was almost a little over 20 minutes, I think. And they finally show up at the end of the match. Why? What are you showing up at the end of the match after this match has been going on for 20 minutes straight? What the fuck was the point in that? Oh, we're waiting until the end of the show. That way we can go ahead and do it. Then make the match 10 minutes. At least it won't come across so fucking retarded. But unfortunately, WWE has no conception of being retarded because they are retarded. That's what they do, and they think it's normal. So, I don't know, man. Anyway, there was a breakdown between all 4 men. The WWE champion and Bobby Lashley were fighting off Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. If I didn't know any better, maybe they should have just turned this into a tag team match. And if Bobby Lashley and Big E won, why Bobby Lashley would be added to the match, which would have been kind of weird and an awkward situation for Big E. So I don't know. It really was weird, and the whole ending was really ridiculous. Kevin Owens got a Uranagi through a table. Seth Rollins got speared through a fucking table by Bobby Lashley. And then Big E is standing there behind Bobby Lashley going, come on, get your ass up. Let's go. And then MVP comes out of nowhere, hits him in the back of the leg with a fucking cane. he loses his balance, couldn't put any leverage on his leg, and then Bobby Lashley just hits him with a spear and pins him 1, 2, 3, and that's how the match ends, and the show goes off the air, and that's pretty much that. Big whoop. Really, like, did you get inspired when you watched this show? If you watched it, I hope not. I hope you didn't watch the show at all. Spare yourselves. It was shit. Bottom line, the bottom of the barrel shit. It was worse than the week before and the week before that. Every fucking week, they just figure out new and new ways to get worse. I mean, they became a company that was, you know, at one point when they were losing in the ratings to WCW, I mean, I didn't care because at the end of the day, they really were trying to succeed. They just happened to be going up against a company that just was getting more of the attention from the fans. But they were really trying. They weren't laying down. They weren't giving up. And that is a company you can stand behind and actually value and be interested in continuing to follow, even if they lose completely and have to disband as a company. You could feel proud that you actually stood up for them and supported them in their work and trying to succeed. That's the same way I feel about AEW. No, AEW is not winning the ratings, the overall ratings, I should say. The demos, I think they're probably beating WWE. I haven't paid attention to that, and nor do I care. I just want to continue to support and show the love towards AEW because they show it right back to the fans. And that's why I support AEW and why I'm a huge fan of pro wrestling still. If it wasn't for AEW being around, I wouldn't even watch professional wrestling at all. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't even have this channel. So thank AEW for why I still have this channel and why I still do this. Because the way WWE is, if they were the sole base of everything of fucking wrestling on television, folks, I wouldn't even waste my time because all the other promotions aren't even on the same level as WWE. They can't even perform in a 5,000 or 6,000 capacity of fans in an arena, most of them. Impact can't do that. They used to. They can't do that at all. I'll tell you what, if Impact Wrestling was at the level it was back in 2010, when they tried to do that Monday Night War shit, and now, they would have won. They would have definitely won me over easily. I would have taken TNA Impact back then and had it draw up against Monday Night Raw. If now, I'd watch them in a fucking heartbeat on Monday nights. I would have instantly turned my fucking TV off from WWE Raw. I mean, it is pathetic the way it is now. Compared to what TNA did in 2010 with Impact, I mean, they weren't the best. Let me just be honest with you. It wasn't the best work that they did, but it was far better than what fucking WWE Raw is doing. Shit. But anyway, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Enough of the ranting. It's been a long ass video. It's fucking 11:42 at night. I might as well should have just watched the 3 hours of the show and then just moved on from there. But whatever, man. At this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel, of course. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.